Welcome to the weekend edition, the vacation weekend edition. Believe it or not, I was in Montreal for November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Um, but I'm making this in Ottawa. It is the end of the weekend. Took the weekend off because, sometimes you just gotta focus on the people in front of you and just doing some stuff there. It was great, you know, just taking that moment. Didn't have to go to work. Well, I worked one night, but that doesn't really count. But just being back in Montreal, being around the city. So on the topic of like vacations, taking that time, let's talk about self-care. I think a lot of times we talk about self-care. It's very easy to talk about, oh, we should take time, you should do things for yourself, you should find out coping mechanisms and things like that. But we don't talk about what it means to be able to be in a position to be able to have those conversations with yourself. I think to be able to talk, to figure out what you may need, or what kind of coping strategies, or being able to be in a position to say, I need this amount of time, or I need these things. It requires security, and security in very many categories, and it depends on everyone. It could be you need security of knowing that your job won't be affected, security, like financial security, security in having like a place that you're staying, having a roof over your head, security of knowing that you're going to be able to have food if you take that time for yourself, security knowing that if you aren't if you just like unplug from your community, unplug from all the things that you're part of, they will still, those groups and communities and spaces will still accept you later. And like when you come back, and people won't assume that you're lazy or that you are X number of different things. And I think that's why we find it so easy to talk about self-care, but very difficult to implement it. When we continuously just talk about self-care and the need for it and various kinds of self-care and all of that, and like reminding people, oh yeah, take that time for yourself, self-care, don't burn out, but we don't actually address the lack of security that a person may need to be able to take that time. We're not we're not making anything better. We're in fact perpetuating the negative, and this like negative like culture, the burnout culture, the to be successful is be exhausted, to overextend yourself, to just hustle and go hard, and all of this. But like we cannot smash anything if we're tired, and if we're living within scarcity and without security. And there's this, I think, we can truly create a beautiful, secure society with realizing that we can provide security to each other. And so that doesn't require each individual person to be their own like enclosed environment of sustainability and security and stuff like that. But when we look at the way we're creating our organizations, our communities, our friend groups, and all of this, and if we're going to talk about self-care, we're going to need to talk about a community of care, a community that's going to recognize that there's going to be a give and go for different things for different people, and that we can provide security for each other so that we can each take that time and self-care. I don't think I've been thinking about this enough, or really pushing myself to apply this at all in my life. It's like how from the smallest groups, this doesn't have to be like an organization or anything, but just with your friends. How do you have that community of care? How do you see your friend burning out or working super hard, or those things, and how do you strive to come alongside them, to be in allyship with them, to not just tell them, hey buddy, take a break, take some time for yourself, but actually say, hey, let's talk about the security our community can provide for you, so that we can support you, so that you can take that time to do what you may need to do for self-care, and being present and showing up for each other, without the strings attached that assumes reciprocation directly from that person. If we're sharing that security, we look at ourselves as this cycle, this organism that's breathing and living, and we're providing security to each other. Essentially, we're providing it for the whole group and all the folks that are available. And how do you balance that? How do you strike that balance? How do you not end up overextending yourself to provide security for someone else? I have no idea. I have 100% no idea. Like, talking about self-care, I think it's so important, but I know for myself to even understand what I might need, it took me a long time to be able to be in a position where I knew, you know what, I can take a minute. I can take the next 10 minutes and I'm going to think about this. And I could do that when I knew I wasn't stressed about not just bare necessities, but just things in life, that I was secure in the fact that I could take that 10 minutes to think about myself. And being able to identify what kind of self-care things you may need fits into self-awareness. And when we live in a moment of our lives when we have the security to learn more about ourselves, and that's important, and that's what allows us to move forward in incoming situations and be better, and to push those boundaries and commit the change that we're looking to do, and to be able to do it in a manner that is healthy for ourselves, healthy for our community, and have ongoing conversations with each other that builds our community, builds our politics, builds our movements, builds our change, instead of the change and the movement being on the backs of tired individuals. Yeah. Was not really planning to talk about, but like, self-care, super important. But recognizing not everyone has the moment or the security to even delve into the notion of self-care. And so maybe we need to back it up a little bit before we start saying, why are these people doing self-care? Why aren't these people taking time for themselves? You cannot take time for yourself if you know that your home is insecure, your food is insecure, your livelihood is insecure, your love is insecure. You cannot take time if you don't feel that security. Well, so that's everything for the vacation weekend edition. Check out my Instagram. I don't think I've asked anyone to. If you're up to it, you can see some pictures that I take and things that I do in my life. And if you feel it so inclined, I would really love it if you would please subscribe, and stay beautiful, stay safe.